To introduce Maria Rivera, who was kind enough to substitute for the original speaker who has laryngitis, so it would have been hard to talk to them. And Maria her position is called Vice President for Audience Development, which is marketing, trying to get bigger readership, and it's for 3 different newspapers, including the Bee and the Modesto paper and one in Merced. She's been working for the Bee for 20 plus years. She's a mom, and the special event is her daughter's birthday party, so that's why we shifted. And her husband has his own business. She had a degree in college from environmental biology, but that wasn't practically useful, so she got an MBA and is now working in this. And I think that I'll let it go at that. Thank you very much again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me out here, and I hope you'll enjoy your dinner. Cheryl sends her regrets. Cheryl Dell is our publisher and president and would have loved to have been here this evening, but unfortunately was sick this weekend and as Cliff mentioned, had laryngitis, so that would have been a little tough to do this evening's presentation. So I look forward to going through that and happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I really do appreciate the accommodation and allowing me to go first here. It's my daughter's 15th birthday today, and so I'd like to spend a little bit of time with her this evening. So this is what the Sacramento Bee looked like about 158 years ago when we first started. And a little bit different format than what you see today. We were called the Daily Bee back then, and it was just a 4-page newspaper. Back in when we started, the Sacramento Bee had competition of about a dozen or so papers in the Sacramento area. So the competition remains today, maybe not so much in the newspaper arena, but certainly with a lot of other news sources that the area residents can get their news from. This will give you an example of what the Sacramento Bee looks like today. We're of course most known for the daily newspaper that we print. However, we have a lot of different products in the market that we put out. So for example, some of the other items that you see on here, up in the top left is called Market Value Place, or MVP. That is a product that goes to every non-subscribing household, mainly with grocery and other advertising inserts, and it's a weekly publication. You may or may not know that we also put out a monthly Pets magazine. We have a Spanish publication called Vida en el Valle, and a number of other advertising and special niche publications. The Bee's print audience for the printed Daily Sacramento Bee is the largest, with readership of a little over 1 million readers each and every month. So just as a little fun fact, that would fill the Sleep Train Arena about 62 times. So sometimes when we hear about readership changing and readership being small, it's important to kind of put that into perspective because it really is a very large readership. Online, our audience today is actually even larger. We have about 3 million unique readers that come to us for online news. And as your habits have undoubtedly changed, so have other readers throughout the region. One of the differences with online is that there aren't the geographic boundaries that we have with print. So online, particularly being a capital market, we have a lot of readers throughout the Bay Area, throughout Los Angeles, and of course around the world that want to keep up with Sacramento news. Sometimes I'll hear from readers that they've read us in print, and that means they've read the Sacramento Bee for the day. And certainly that is true. By reading the Sacramento Bee, you've got a very good idea of what's happened. The goal of the printed paper is to give a 24-hour edited summary of what's happened in the past 24 hours. However, we offer a lot online that is different from what you'll see in your morning newspaper. So we, of course, have breaking news online, and we update stories, developing stories throughout the day. It's a great place to go for that. We have a wide array of photo galleries of things happening in the region. Obviously, we take a lot more photos and can put put a lot more photos online than what you'll see in your printed paper. So it's a great way to see more, and particularly in for example, in these last couple of weeks with the unfortunate, incredible fires that we've had in the region. If you've gone online, you've seen some of the incredible work that our firefighters are doing in the community. We also are really focusing on video, and so you're seeing a lot more videos online. Again, the videos of the fires have been incredible. The work that Matt Barrows does on the San Francisco 49ers and some of the videos in the locker room and behind the scenes are really fun. So just a wide variety of topics. You also will find a number of different databases. We have over 100 databases that you can go online to search, and you'll see everything from our state worker pay database to restaurant reviews, crime stats, home sale stats, a lot of different things that you can go in and find more information for yourself to supplement some of the stories that we are writing about. And of course, social media is a big way that readers are coming to us as things spark their interest. Your friend shares something with you that they know you might be interested in, or you see something in your headlines that of course piques your interest. So again, over 3 million readers that come to us online, with roughly around 24 million page views every month. That's a whole lot of news that's being read online. So certainly a growing audience for us. Mobile is, of course, people reading news on their phones, and most of us are kind of addicted to that now. We're finding that traffic is, over half of the traffic that we see online is actually coming with readers coming on their phones. And, for many of us, well, that's the way we catch up on news throughout the day and get breaking news, as well as you're taking a few minutes while you're waiting for this, that, or the other at appointments, etc., and coming in and getting those updates. We have updated our format there. You would have seen a new app a few months back. And also we're doing quite a few push notifications, so sending information out to you when there's something important that's breaking that we'd like you to know. Tablet is a little bit different experience. So on a tablet like a iPad, for example, we have also another app there. And we have a couple of ways that you can read us on the tablet. We have our e-edition, and by a show of hands, how many of you have seen our e-edition before? Quite a few of you, very good. So the e-edition is a digital replica of the printed paper, and what's really nice about it is that you can read it anywhere, you can take it with you, you can read it while you're traveling, you can save articles, share, forward, that sort of thing. And has really become popular with folks who like the formatting and are comfortable with the formatting of the printed paper. But our tablet app is also designed for, I mentioned a little bit about mobile and how oftentimes people are coming to mobile and reading quick stories. On the tablet, it's a little bit more of that lean back experience when you have a little bit more time, maybe in the evening when you're settling down and doing a little bit of reading before you turn out for the night. It's formatted a little bit more like a daily magazine. Again, different stories than what you'll be seeing in the printed paper. The Sacramento Bee also has a number of newsletters, and so these newsletters are our special interest. We have everything from a daily newsletter that goes out in the morning that's telling you kind of the top stories of the day, things that may have developed overnight. We have, of course, breaking news alerts to send information to you about things happening in the community and around the world. And then a number of special interests, so sports and sports breaking news, entertainment. We have a food and wine newsletter. We also have a state worker newsletter, a pets newsletter, moms. So a lot of different topics and themes, and this is additional information that we're sending out in an email format for you to get news. Each reader can go in and select the topics that are of interest, and so that you receive, how many newsletters you were interested in for your own needs. Something that many in the community don't know is that we are also a commercial printer. So the Sacramento Bee prints 5 daily newspapers. Not only do we print Sacramento, but we also print our 2 sister papers, the Modesto Bee and the Merced Sun Star. We print the Marin Independent Journal over in the Bay Area, and then we also print the Grass Valley Union. All 5 newspapers are printed at the Bee and then shipped to their facility. And it's really been a great partnership for both sides. We have presses that we keep in operation, and different papers have different deadlines, so we can print everything together. And for some of the smaller papers in the community, it's made more sense than to have their own printing facilities on site. We also print a number of other materials, advertising inserts. Not everything that you receive in the Sunday paper is printed by us. A lot of the advertising inserts, like a Target ad, are printed at a different facility that the retailer typically takes care of, but there are many things that are printed here on site. Big Five, for example, the comics, and other inserts that may or may not end up in one of those newspapers. So again, a large commercial printer. We're also a delivery service, and so of course we deliver the Sacramento Bee, but in the market we also deliver most every other newspaper that is delivered here. So we print we deliver the Nationals, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, USA Today. We print some niche publications like the Korea Times and China Daily. And then we deliver a lot of other materials. So sometimes you'll get samples with your newspaper. We don't do this as frequently anymore, but of course in years past you've seen everything from shampoo samples to Tylenol samples, whatever an advertiser is looking to get into the community. But a lot of different delivery services as well. When it comes to audience, this is how the Sacramento Bee stacks up compared to other newspaper companies in the market. So when folks are looking for news, more readers turn to us than turn to any other TV or radio. And this gives you an example of kind of a pictorial of what that audience size looks like as you go around the community. Online, that doesn't look all too different, really the same, with more readers coming to sacbee.com than going to any other TV station or other news site in the 4-county region. You know, over the last several months, we've of course made some changes to the Sacramento Bee, and as you know, I've talked about tonight, that was done based on all of our reader habits changing and what readers were telling us they were looking for in a news organization. But what hasn't changed is that we want to continue to be the largest and most trusted media source in Sacramento. And so the changes that we made were designed to keep us that way. What I'd like to just spend a couple of minutes on then is what we envision ourselves as doing in providing for the community. And so the 4 tenets of what we believe a good newspaper does is to create connections with the community, to watch the powerful, to be interesting, and to save you time and money. And we feel if we're doing those 4 things well, then we're being successful. So let me give you some examples of what that has looked like just in the last few days. Creating connections, of course, what creates a connection for me might be very different than what creates a connection for you. But for example, the Hometown Heroes stories and the coverage that we've had over the last several weeks, I think is something that's hopefully created a connection for all of us and really created a connection for Sacramento to the rest of the world. And so as the Hometown Heroes came home and we had the parade and their stories unfolded, I think most of us felt a really deep connection with that. There was a story yesterday about Chicago Fire Pizza and how they've come into this community, and of course you have a location here not too far away in Folsom, and it was fun to read about how they've expanded. And of course, I was talking earlier with your foreign exchange student here about football and Del Campo, and we've really expanded our coverage of high school football, both in print and online, and we've expanded that with our Sunday coverage. It's something that creates communities for many families. Watching the powerful is, again, another important tenet for what we feel we need to be doing at the Sacramento Bee. We've had a continuing series of stories on nursing homes and the quality of care and the quality of oversight of nursing homes. And that's something that, stories like that are something that the Sacramento Bee oftentimes is able to help create change with. As we shed light on a particular situation, there's oftentimes new regulations and laws that come out of stories like that. Just yesterday, there was of course the stories about all the bills that are on Jerry Brown's desk, and really important that we're monitoring those and talking about those in the community, and people have insight and can make decisions for themselves on each of those. Being interesting is another tenet, and of course what I find interesting might be very different from what you find interesting. But I think every day there's something that's interesting in the paper, and it's sort of that water cooler talk. Cliff and I were just talking about the dogs at the airport, and he was sharing how he actually just took a video of that as he flew back in. And that was something that was very interesting to me. I'm a big dog lover, and so to hear that there's dogs at the airport now to greet passengers and to calm people down and create a little bit of a distraction in what oftentimes is a hurried and sort of stressful situation was kind of fun. There was also an article in the paper yesterday about college choice and how the choice of where you go to school oftentimes determines the sort of paycheck you get. And while that's only one measure of employee satisfaction, I thought it was interesting to go through and read that and see that as people make their selection. There were also, we did a number of different hikes in Yosemite that you can go off and do and see Yosemite in a variety of different ways, which this time of year is always nice to do before the weather changes, because one day it will rain again. So it is a good time to get out there. And of course, as a newspaper, we save time, we save you time, and we save you money. So, part of our role is to bring not only the news stories to you, but create a kind of a commercial environment and are here to serve businesses that are promoting their services, promoting their offers. And so every day as you look through the paper, you can find deals, ways to save you money, and the idea of the newspaper is to bring all of that for you together so that you can find it quickly. So for example, in the last couple of days I noticed a 2-for-1 to head up to the Auburn Home Show, which is kind of fun to do this time of year. We had a 20% off at Harbor Freight and a really good deal on water at Rite Aid. So a lot of deals in the paper, but just a few things that caught my eye as I was looking through the paper yesterday. So again, a way for us to bring together the very best to you. Again, what hasn't changed is our mission, which is to be the region's leading media company, providing a trusted and valued source of news and information to the communities we serve. We do that by providing news. In our A section is our place to provide you quick news highlights of everything that's happened in the past day. And our new Insight section in the B section is to provide you more of the deeper story, what's going on, what the why behind a story, and to share a little bit more insight. And then of course just to be a forum for discussion. And if you're online, one feature I didn't mention earlier is that online you can also comment on stories so that we can create conversation around very important topics. If you haven't been down to the Sacramento Bee, this is our building down at 21st and Q. And we do tours on occasion down there, so if you're ever interested in coming down for a tour, we'd love to have you. And with that, I'd love to open it up to any questions you might have. That's a great question. So the question is the internet available if you don't have a subscription to the Bee? And the answer is yes. What we offer online is metered access, so there's a certain number of stories that you can see before we'll ask you to pay for a subscription. And then we have both a digital only subscription as well as a print.
So, follow on, you get a subscription to the internet media if you have.
Correct. So if you have a subscription to the paper, it does include unlimited digital access as well. And it's very easy to sign up. We can help you create your own account for that. Good questions. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to comment, I'm in the general business, and I like the format of the instant memorial section. I like the way you do that. Very, very nicely done.
Thank you very much. It's nice to hear that from someone who's in that line of work.
And I heard that building as a youngster when it first opened.
Well, that was just 6 months ago or so it hasn't changed much. Yes, so the question is, are printing presses at 21st and Q? They are still at 21st and Q. Yes, we have 4 presses there.
We don't have any local news anymore.
Sure. Well, officially we haven't had Metro in quite some time. I'm trying to think when we officially changed the name from Metro, but we do. So a misnomer. The question is, why did we get rid of local news? And we didn't get rid of local news. We just label it a little differently. And so really with this most recent redesign, the local news actually starts on the front page of the paper generally. It used to be that our first A section was more of our national and world coverage, and then we had local news in the second section of the paper. What we heard from readers is national and world is incredibly important, but local is what the Sacramento Bee does that's unique and that ties us to this area. And so we actually start local news now, while we don't label the front page of the paper as local, we start local news on the front page, and then you'll notice that we go into national, world, business, and other sections.
How much and how loud of resistance, displeased reaction, and disgust with the changes that happen? Two format, but secondly, the reliance on more national newspapers rather than normal reporting. How loud and how much of that are you still getting?
Sure. So the question is, what sort of reaction, and in particular negative reaction, did we have to the changes that we've made in the paper, as well as the type of reporters that we have? So, reaction has been very mixed, and what I can say for certain is that many of us are creatures of habit and don't like change, and this was a very big change that the Sacramento Bee made. So initially we heard reaction from those that didn't like the change as much. We also heard a lot of very positive feedback for those that like the format change and like the new organization. So I'd say mixed. We're not getting that sort of reaction anymore. And in my area, I actually oversee customer service and the incoming calls and emails and questions we get about the paper in a variety of formats as well. As far as our own reporters versus using other reporters, so there's no doubt that the size of our staff has changed, and as we went through the economic difficulties of the last few years, as many other businesses did, we obviously had to make difficult decisions as well. And so we can't cover everything in the same way that we've always covered it. So again, really focusing in on those areas where we can do a great job. We still continue to have a Capitol Bureau, for example, downtown, that's directly across the street from the Capitol to really cover Capitol news. That's an area that we've always been very strong in and want to continue to be very strong in. We have a lot of coverage on high school sports. There's so many high schools in the area, but just kind of two diverse ends of things that we cover, and just have used that to make the best of providing the kind of coverage that readers are looking for today.
It's a continuation of that question. I was one of the ones who complained loud and often, and also. And everybody kept telling me, well, if you want a hard print, take it off. You're going to have to adjust this change because we can't survive 600. Has it improved? Has that cash in, cash out actually improved since
Sure. So, the Sacramento Bee generates revenue in a number of different ways. One is advertising revenue that comes in with the businesses that advertise both in the pages of the paper as well as the inserts. Another is readers paying for subscriptions. And, again, our business model is changing with readers coming to us in print, readers coming to us online. The same with advertisers that come with us in print and online, and I believe we have a very strong future ahead, but like other businesses are, yes, I believe we have a strong future ahead for print as well. Yes, of course.